In this week's episode, we discuss the imminent arrival of what could be the first true Steam Deck competitor.
Plus, has the UK's CMA put the brakes on Microsoft's acquisition dreams? I'm Barry.
And I'm Anthony. And this is episode 96 of the Retro Gaming Dads podcast, the podcast for everything retro and retro-inspired.
So, go on. What have you been playing this week?
I have been playing Pokemon because I did a thing. I did the thing. I got Pokemon Scarlet. I did it. No, Violet, sorry. What am I talking about? I got a Pokemon Violet, sorry. And I'm enjoying it. Don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying it more than I thought. But the graphics are shocking.
Better or worse than Arceus?
What, the game in general?
No, graphics. We'll just go for graphics.
Oh, the graphics are worse than Arceus.
Really? I think Arceus looks much worse.
You have like a bubble around you. Within that bubble, the graphics are nice, perfect, and everything else. Outside of 10 meters, they walk like robots. It's like
That's just because the Switch, as we'll actually talk about later on, isn't that powerful. So they do need to cut down the resolution. They do need to cut down the frames per second for things off in the distance. And unfortunately, when we say distance, as you say, it's only a few meters away from you.
Yes.
I think overall, though, it looks much, much better than Arceus.
I don't know, just was the grass on Arceus, the grass looked like grass. On this, it's just a 2D, I don't know, flat little single stem that waves, and as you move, it kind of moves it with you like a billboard.
Yeah. As I've said before, I don't think Game Freak's the most competent of 3D games designer. And I think a lot of that shows in the presentation of these games. But I think it's definitely serviceable.
Tell what I want Game Freak to call upon the help of the Zelda developers and get them to help them make a game.
Do you know who they need to give them a hand?
Go on.
Who also give the guys doing the Zelda games a hand?
Go on.
Monolith, the people who do Xenoblade. Now, they are some really impressive open world environments on the Switch.
Nintendo's got such a vast amount of games that are open world and look fantastic. Pokemon's coming to that full experience. They need the people to work with them to bring them into it fully, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think it's serviceable. Maybe I just had low expectations of the game, to be honest.
I've only seen one glitch, though, and I wouldn't really say it's a glitch.
All fairness, it's had quite a few months of updates since it came out between then and you getting it.
I know, but you were only playing it a couple of weeks ago and you were still receiving loads of glitches.
No, it was a few months ago I got it.
Nah, it's been sooner since I've been speaking to you about it.
It's probably only been a few months.
Oh, I don't know. But anyway, it was a random one.
And in all fairness, I started playing the game, and because I just turned the Switch into hibernation mode, I don't actually save and quit the game. Every time it come up, I went, there's an update. Do you want to install it? Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm good. Just carry on.
You haven't rid of my game save.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, actually, that's why I didn't update. Because of that issue.
Well,
yeah, I forgot about that.
That actually has been affecting anyone, even if they haven't updated it.
Oh, right. Well, I am up to date now.
But no, alongside that, I've also played a little bit more Vampire Survivor. Still enjoying it. Still get a bit too addicted, but it is a good game. And then last but not least, I jumped on to Fortnite and played a few games of Fortnite with the guys at work, and I had a good laugh at that.
Just when I thought my opinion of you couldn't get any lower, you have to go and start playing Fortnite.
It was a good laugh. It was a good laugh. It was just a little thing. However, I am going to give XCOM a try.
Well, there's no point in me talking about my game then. You've just beat me to the punch.
Apologies. I just thought I'd give it a try. Come on, what have you been playing?
Or more specifically, XCOM 2. And I've really enjoyed that game. I really like the old XCOM, as in UFO, Enemy Unknown, and Terror from the Deep, the original Microprose ones. But these new ones, they're a lot more streamlined, a lot better. But I'll tell you what, it's still absolute
Come on, speak your mind, Barry. Speak it.
How the a trained Marine who's supposed to have survived the hell on earth that has been this alien occupation for 20 years somehow can knock it together and point his gun in the direction of some piece of shit alien, pull the trigger and actually hit it with 100 shots. I have no idea. These guys deserve to be extinct.
Well, I'm glad you absolutely have loved it so far, and there's no issues with it at all. Could you have fitted any more expletives in that line?
Also, whoever works at, I think it's Firaxis who make this game, whoever does that percentage calculator needs to go back to school and learn what a percentage actually is. There is no way I am consistently missing 80% plus shots with 4 or 5 Marines. No way. There's no way.
Maybe the game's just following you.
Yeah, no, it probably is. Probably is, to be honest.
Just meant, how can we make him rage?
I want to play the game on Iron Man mode, but I'm not going to because I know how stupid the game can be sometimes. If you go on and have a look at my Xbox captures, it's just loads of XCOM ones at the moment. You can go into any of them, and I reckon you'll see 5 guys take shots at an Advent Marine just like strolling around, hands in his pocket, out in the middle of nowhere. I'm sniping him from the roof, shooting him from behind a car, running up and putting a shotgun in his mouth, pulling the trigger, and I still miss. And then he turns around, does a reactionary shot on a random guy who's hidden inside like a building 2 miles away and manages to get a critical hit and kills him outright. And I'm like, what's going on?
All right, so I'm glad it's going well.
Yeah, it's like a bad relationship. I keep going back to it.
Well, without causing you any more of a headache and some horrors, shall we move on to
PTSD.
the first game?
No, I think that's all I've been playing though. I've not had an awful lot of time. Either I've been ill or Elliot's been back in A&E, so I haven't played an awful lot. In all fairness, with you being away, I'm surprised you managed to get much gaming in.
Well, that's the thing. That's the beauty of a Switch or being able to use my Atom controllers, is that I could just, it's handheld, so it's not an issue at all.
Well, before we start going into the news, should we say a massive thank you to our Patreon subscribers?
Yes, as always, a massive thank you to Bobby Socks and Short Gizmo. Your continued patronage is really, really appreciated.
Right. Would you like to feel old?
I'm friends with you, so I don't think I'll ever feel old, but go on.
Jurassic Park is 30 years old.
30 years? Flip
30 years. I feel like this only came out like, I don't know, 10 years ago max.
I remember my parents saying they took me to watch Jurassic Park when I was younger. However, this came out when I was, 2.5, nearly 3.
Oh no, this came out at the prime point in my life where I was dinosaur mad. So I would have been about 8 or 9 when this came out. And I remember we all went to the cinema to watch it. I got to go and watch Jurassic Park with my dad, while my mum had to go and watch Bambi with my brother. Oddly enough, I think Ben came out more traumatized at Bambi than I did at Jurassic Park.
Yeah, but Bambi died.
Do you know I've never actually seen Bambi? And you've just spoiled it.
Oh. That's your fault. You've had long enough.
I assumed it's a Disney film. Usually the parents die in a Disney film anyway. And I know they do in The Lion King, they do in Frozen.
Yeah. And
then if they don't die, they're already an orphan to begin with most of the time.
Well, for me, I don't remember it, but my parents said that they took me and my brother to watch it, and we ran out screaming of the cinema watching Jurassic Park.
Right, I was going to say which film, Bambi or Jurassic Park?
Do you know what? I did think about clarifying because I didn't say it at the start.
No, I love Jurassic Park. I went and watched it so many times. I even had a bootleg copy that my auntie had got. Someone at the back recording it on a camcorder. Yeah. People getting up and talking in front of them and stuff. Oh, good times. But anyway, 30 years old that is. And Limited Run to celebrate has hinted at a new Jurassic Park 30th anniversary retro collection that they're going to release this year.
Now, this does sound awesome. Don't get me wrong, it sounds like a fantastic collection, but how well do we trust limited run games to get these out on time and that?
Well, that's what I was actually about to say. I reckon what they mean by it's planned for this year is they will do pre-orders this year and get the game out ready for the 35th anniversary of Jurassic Park.
I was a bit kind there. Yeah. Take it with a pinch of salt. That's the best way to do this. It looks fantastic. There's 5 games they've announced for this.
Well, no, they haven't announced the game. These are just teasers, but I assume that the 5 games that they're shown in the screenshot, which you can view on our website and in the show notes, I'm assuming they're the 5 games that go put on it, or at least 5 games plus maybe some more.
So the games coming out are for the NES, the SNES, and the Game Boy. We've got Jurassic Park coming out for all 3, and Jurassic Park Part 2 coming for the SNES and the Game Boy. So that's a good start.
Yeah, but see, I might be biased because I was a Sega kid growing up, but I don't think these are the best Jurassic Park games. I want Jurassic Park on the Mega Drive and my personal favourite, the Master System, because it's the one I had, and Jurassic Park Rampage.
See, I didn't play these, so I've not got an opinion completely on them.
See, these games, I don't know about Part 2, but most of them are top-down. I'd say top-down shooters. You have a gun, but it's more about collecting the dinosaur eggs.
Okay.
So it's a bit more of a collectathon. Whereas the Sega versions were side-scrolling shooters.
Okay, that's similar because I remember...
You get to play as a Velociraptor. It's always fun.
Okay, well, I do remember on the PlayStation playing a game similar to that, where it, again, I know it was a Jurassic Park game. I can't remember which one it was. You guys play as a human, a Velociraptor, or a T-Rex, actually, as well. You guys
I think that might have been maybe The Lost World.
Okay, because that's my earliest memory of playing a Jurassic Park game.
Yeah, I'd like to see them hopefully put in the Mega Drive and Master System games into this as well. That'd be quite a good overall collection.
So Limited Run have said to stay tuned. They'll announce some more information later on in June. But this might actually give me a chance to play through some of these games from me trying myself. I would love to. Jurassic Park is a fantastic franchise that I do enjoy. You never know, the boys might play as well. So let's see how it goes.
No, they'll definitely like it. If nothing else, only for the fact that you can go with Velociraptor and jump on park rangers' heads.
Yeah.
And eat all the little, is it the compies? I can't remember full names.
Yeah,
to get your health back.
I'm not even going to try and pronounce them, but compy.
Yeah.
Maybe not show them a Velociraptor eating people.
I don't think you can eat them. I think if you jump, you just kind of like bump them and they fall over, and you can say they're just having a kip. They're having a little sleep.
What's Velociraptor doing on top of that man? Well, wouldn't you like to know?
When a Velociraptor and a man love each other. Right. Moving on. Before, you were saying that your Switch was a godsend for while you're away.
Yes.
But we were also criticising its performance. Now, there's quite a few systems, handheld systems, that are coming out that are much more powerful than the Switch and have a similar sort of form factor, the Steam Deck being one of them. Now, it's fair to say that at the moment, the Steam Deck is the handheld to beat. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And there's been plenty of competition, but probably one that most people have been getting excited about that we spoke about April Fool's, weren't it? That they announced.
Yes, it was.
Is the Asus ROG Ally. Now, we got a little bit of information on the screen. A couple of YouTube channels got hands on, but there wasn't really much in the way of specs. But it appears that these specs and possibly the price has been leaked.
Now, as you alluded to earlier, though, I've got to say, it's not hard for something to beat the Switch. So there's a big comparison there. But this looks fantastic. From the sounds of it, it's coming at the right time. It's coming at a good price.
Now, we've got to make sure you're aware that this is not confirmed. This is absolute speculation and rumours. But there's a decent chance that this information's right. So the Ally will actually come in 2 different configurations. So unlike Steam Deck, where performance-wise it's exactly the same whether you get the £350 one or the higher £550 system, this you will get 2 different performance options. So starting with the entry-level one, you get the AMD Z1 with 16 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gig SSD, 1080p screen. Now, the rumor is this will come in at under $600, which is roughly about £480.
The price of the entry level model is definitely a good price to start off at, especially being the similar price to the middle tier for the Steam Deck. Competitive wise, because we thought it was going to be a lot more expensive, it's fitting in really well.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I thought this was going to be £800 sort of price. Now, again, this is not confirmed, but if it does come in at, say, 500, let's round it up a bit, that'll make it £40 more expensive than the Steam Deck with the same amount of storage, but with a more powerful APU in the actual device, a higher resolution screen with a faster refresh rate.
It kind of looking at the two side by side and looking at the performance differences, why wouldn't you go for a ROG Ally if this was the case?
Yeah, so teraflops isn't the be-all and end-all, but it gives you a bit of perspective on the actual performance, graphical performance of a unit.
Yeah.
So AMD have actually shown what the Z1 processor is capable of. And they're saying it'll be about 2.8 teraflops in actual performance. Now, that is somewhere in the region of 1.5 PlayStation 4 consoles.
Yeah.
To give as a rough estimate. And is higher than the Steam Deck's 1.6 teraflops. So it's a considerable jump up. It's like 50%.
It's also higher than the Nintendo Switch's.
Oh, yeah.
4 teraflops.
Then the Nintendo Switch is 0.4 teraflops. That's painful.
Hard one to beat. Oh, it's shocking.
Now you understand why they have to cut the frame rate down in Pokemon if anything's happening on screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, on top of that, they have also got a Z1 Extreme version of this unit, haven't they?
Yes, they have. And it's a pretty hefty jump. So, in regards to specs, however, so as Barry said, it's the AMD Z1 Extreme, 16GB RAM again. This is a 512GB SSD, and it's a 1080p screen. And it jumps up by $100 to just under $700. But the teraflops, it jumps to 8.6 teraflops instead now. So it's quite a significant jump up.
That's a very significant jump.
Yeah.
So we were having a quick look and we were comparing it to current consoles.
Yes.
And obviously this beats the Steam Deck's 1.6 teraflops.
Mm-hmm. Just tad. It also beats the Series S, which has got 4 teraflops. That's double the Series S.
Yeah, and it even approaches the PlayStation 5's 10 teraflops. So on a handheld, if you think you've got 80+% of the performance of a PlayStation 5 in a handheld that's only going to be running at 1080p most of the time, you're going to get some, hopefully, really good performance on this system.
But not only that, it sits at a very similar price. It's £560 if that price is to be correct.
Yeah.
So, if you're in a toss up between what should I get, well, you can get the handheld because it's practically the same price.
And if you're looking at which handheld to get, I love my Steam Deck. I need to preface that I love my Steam Deck.
Oh yeah, you do.
However, a 512GB Steam Deck will set you back £570. Now, if this does come out, say £600, so within spitting distance of it, you're going to get the same amount of RAM, same amount of storage, significantly higher graphics and compute performance.
Yeah.
Plus a higher resolution screen, plus a higher refresh screen, plus, if the hands-ons are to be believed, a quieter unit.
Isn't it smaller and larger as well?
I think it's roughly the same sort of footprint, but it's a little bit less curvy, shall we say.
Do we know? I mean, we don't quite know yet. Could this possibly be released with a dock as well, or do you reckon it's just a handheld by itself?
I think it'll just be the handheld, but I don't see why you couldn't connect it into most of these docks that have signed for the Steam Deck anyway. Because all they are is they're just like
it's just a
device that holds it upright, and then you just plug a USB-C cable into the top.
I look at it, and the more I hear about it, the more I'm like, okay, well, this is another step in the handheld direction. As you were speaking about, and we've mentioned before. So
Yeah.
how long until another competitor comes along? So it's only been it's been a year now, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's just been over a year for the Steam Deck since it was released. Now, I think if we do get another competitor, I reckon it's going to be another traditional computer manufacturer. So my money would be on someone like maybe Dell with an Alienware device.
Yeah. I can see that.
Can't really see anyone like HP or Apple jumping into this.
What about Lenovo? They seem to get into everything.
Lenovo,
Come on. They came to our work and they said they practically do everything.
I have difficulty seeing them make a device like this. Now, as you say, they did bring everything from laptops that they were stamping on, super thin, super thick, workstations. They even had Lenovo were the ones that brought those augmented reality glasses.
Yep.
I don't think that I can see them making a handheld gaming PC. They do have a gaming division, so possibly, but I don't know. I can also see Asus dropping this after just one iteration as well.
Why? What? Do you think they just won't stick with it? Do you reckon?
Unless this sells really well, in which case I think every OEM's going to start jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
I don't think the numbers that the Steam Deck's really doing is sufficient, especially at the price that it's selling for.
Yeah.
But I think if this Ally does well, then this could be what could pull other manufacturers in.
Like you said, so with the price it is the cost of a console. So as if you want to go with the handheld, if you want to stick with a console. So
it is.
It needs to be in the right market. It needs to have the right people to be picking up, to grasp it in. I don't know anyone who might pick this up.
I think if these prices are right, I think I would, had I not already got the Steam Deck.
Yeah. Well, that's what a lot of other people might say as well. A lot of other people might be the same boat.
Yeah. Playing devil's advocate, though, I would say that this is more capable than a console because you can just connect it up to a keyboard, mouse, and monitor, and you do have a Windows, I'm assuming this is going to be Windows 11 on this device, Windows 11 device.
Saying that, I mean, surely you could plug it into a USB-C adapter, which goes to your TV, and Bluetooth control to it, and then play that way.
Yeah, my Steam Deck, my monitor has a USB connection input on it, so I use that. I could use a dock. In fact, in work, I have actually done it in the past, haven't I? Connected it to a monitor on my lunch when we were playing that Mass Builder, was it?
Yes, it was.
So you can do that. I've connected my Bluetooth Xbox controller up to my Steam Deck and lay in bed playing a game on my monitor.
Yeah.
So it does work as not only a handheld, a console, it can act as, I wouldn't say a laptop, but as a desktop. Realistically, trying to do anything Windows OS based on the tiny touchscreen is
a nightmare.
Not impossible, it's just
fiddly.
Yeah, fiddly's a nice way to put it. I wasn't going to put it in a nice way, but yeah, that'll do.
But we also have a speculated release date. So at the minute, we have been given the 11th of May, where we will either get the ability to pre-order it or purchase it. We're not quite sure. But 11th of May, stay tuned.
The 11th of May, so that's only a week away at this point.
Yes.
That seems to have come round really quick.
I know, especially when we've not really heard much about it at all. We've had a bit of a teaser, a couple of notes, and then hands-on, and that's it. So we haven't really had much interaction with this console at all.
I think it's because the Steam Deck seemed to drag on forever.
Yeah.
Even after it was released, you were waiting months just to get your unit.
Took me from now until the end of time.
Yeah, exactly. Now, before we move on to our final piece of news, if you're enjoying this episode, we'd like to ask for your help in supporting the podcast. The quickest and easiest way to do so is by leaving us an honest review on your favourite podcasting app. It only takes a minute and it's completely free.
Or, if you're able to, you can support the podcast further from only £1 per month through either Spotify or Patreon. In return, you will receive an ad-free version of the podcast and even get a shout out on our next episode.
Now, things aren't looking good for Microsoft, are they?
No, especially after us just talking about how it was going well and looking like it was set to go, and it's just gone. Sadly, the CMA has decided to dump all over the parade and reject it.
Yeah, so this looked like they were starting to soften up on Microsoft's acquisition of Activision.
Yep.
And everyone was actually expecting them to say, yeah, we have no issues with this. It's fine. It can go through. And then they seemed to surprise everyone. They even caught Microsoft off guard by the looks of it and said, no, we're blocking this merger.
Honestly, the shock I got, I saw the news article come through and I was like, what the heck? Why is it getting blocked? Because it was going so well. But not only was it just blocked, they were fed information from an unlikely party that I didn't think was going to get involved. Google.
Yeah, we actually talked about this because Google did speak up about the merger well into last year.
Yes.
And we were like, well, what's the point? You know, they're closing down Stadia at the time.
They're jumping ship.
What are they worried about? But it appears that is the sticking point, that they are worried that Microsoft gaining control of Activision would make their streaming platform a monopoly.
The thing is that they're so big already, who else can compete with them?
Sony could. I mean, Sony could easily just do a streaming service where you can play loads of old first-party PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and 4 titles.
Yeah.
That alone would be something that Microsoft can't really compete with. Because if you think, between the Xbox and the Xbox Series X, games, they've got better, they look better, and they've become more refined. But the type of titles you got on that original Xbox aren't a million miles away from what you get on a current Xbox. You get your first-person shooters, your third-person shooters, your action RPGs, those sorts of titles. However, original PlayStation games, I don't know what sort of drugs some of them were taking during the 90s, but you get...
Absolutely mental.
It was the dawn of 3D gaming, and they were throwing everything at the wall to see what would stick. So you get some really unique games. You've got things like Vib Ribbon, Parappa the Rapper, Jumpin' Jack. Then you get all your staples like your Final Fantasy VII, your Metal Gear Solids, Silent Hill. You know, there's so many different titles that they could put into a streaming service that Microsoft wouldn't be able to offer.
Now, is it Microsoft's fault that they saw a space in the market for a streaming platform service and they pursued it, and everyone's going, oh, hang on a second, they're getting too big?
No, absolutely not. And I do think pioneer is probably a bit of a strong word for it, but they are definitely one of the more mainstream companies to be pushing this forward.
Oh, definitely. And they don't just push it forward. As we see, they're setting off deals, they're making deals to build this streaming platform service around. You know, they're not looking to take people down, they're looking to build it up to get it going.
Yeah, because they're not only looking to add more content to their own streaming service, but with the deals that they've done through Boostroid and GeForce Now, they're looking to also push their content onto other cloud streaming platforms as well. On one hand, I think, no, of course they're not trying to make a monopoly. They're giving the content to other platform holders. But at the same time, if you're paying £11 a month for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and you can stream all these Xbox titles, or you could pay £10-15 to another company for their streaming service, but then have to buy the titles on top of it. What I think they'll probably want you to do, pay £10-15 for whatever streaming platform you want, but then also pay the £11 to Microsoft for Game Pass so that you can stream through their service anyway without buying the games.
The thing is that if you're already paying for the streaming service, for whatever service it is before you go for Xbox, you're buying that for a reason. You've obviously got other games in your library ready. You want to be using Steam, so you don't have to purchase Game Pass. It's just there as an option, and that's what they're doing. They're giving the option out to gamers. They're not saying purchase it. I doubt there's going to be ads popping up saying buy Xbox Game Pass. It's just there for an option to use it.
Yes,
that's it.
Yeah, so you're saying it's just another option. Like if I go to GeForce now, it'll say sign in with my Steam or my Epic Game Store, so it'll pull my games down. You're just saying it'll be another option there.
Yeah.
Sign in with your Xbox account, pull down the titles that we can stream for you.
Yeah, exactly. So I get what they're saying about the monopoly, but that's down to that person's choice to pay for the monopoly. It's not their fault for putting the ability there for them to utilize it.
See, I don't know if I'm just being biased, because to me, the thought of not having Xbox Live is kind of foreign to me.
Yeah.
Game Pass for me is just the evolution of what Xbox Live was. So it's become normalized for me for 18 years to pay a monthly subscription for online gaming. So I might be biased in this, but I think the CMA is out of touch with the modern gaming landscape and doesn't quite understand how much of a threat Microsoft could or won't be if this merger goes through.
I do get their concerns. I do. And I can see it from their side. Don't get me wrong. But I would like to ask, who is it that's making these decisions? Is it people who do have a good hand in gaming? I would like to think they've got some way into it, but what's the age demographic of these people making these decisions?
Exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
Yeah, that's where I thought you were going with it. So they need to make sure they have people who is within this current demographic who can make the correct decisions, who then can foresee a bit more, rather than just going, oh, I get what you're saying. Oh, I don't quite know, but it makes sense, and then just reject it that way.
Yeah, because you got to think as well, even if, say, the people making these decisions are our sort of age, have they even used these services? Because cloud streaming services, at least good ones, are still a relatively new thing.
Yes.
10 years ago, you did have stuff like OnLive, but it wasn't mainstream. It wasn't good. Some would argue it still isn't.
Well, no, exactly. With the Xbox Game Pass, that's still in beta. That's been out for a couple of years
forever
now? Yeah, since it came out. That's it. My thought is not just for this, for anything going forwards with different mergers. If these things are getting blocked, well, if you can look at it this way, Microsoft is, as you said, don't want to say pioneering, is kind of paving the way for maybe the future of gaming. So what if another gaming company in 2 years' time wants the exact same thing, and it's progressed to a point where actually we are going to this edge and it goes through straight away? Well, so hang on a second, 2 years ago you rejected it for this reason, and now you're okay with it. How's that going to see? I said, not just for Microsoft, for anyone. What issues could this cause for anyone else who's trying to purchase a what's the word?
A developer? A publisher?
Yes, both.
So I think that the argument that Microsoft buying Activision would mean that they'd take games away from other companies. I think that's an absolute non-starter. I'm not being funny. Look at games like Final Fantasy VII Remake, Final Fantasy 16. They're not coming to Xbox because Sony has gone out of their way to make agreements to make them exclusive to the PlayStation.
It's not a sort of example, but you've also got Genshin Impact, where that was supposed to come to the Switch, and PlayStation forced and said, you're not put it on the Switch. Things like that. Well, PlayStation have done it. Why can't other game companies do it? Oh, that's it. You can't do it. No.
Well, that's the thing, though. Microsoft weren't going to do it.
No.
Like, some of the games might have been exclusive, but almost certainly none of the current IPs that you know of. There might be a few, like Elder Scrolls, for example.
Yes.
I think the next mainline entry is going to be Xbox exclusive. That, you could argue, has always been more of an Xbox console title rather than the PlayStation one. But going back to what we were saying earlier, have these people got a grasp on what the gaming landscape is now? Just because the last decade, it's changed so much. And I think over the next decade, it's going to change even more. Like, significantly more.
I completely agree. And I was about to say the same thing. The gaming industry lately, actually for the past decade at least, definitely, but it's constantly changing because it's becoming more of a need lately, isn't it? It is kind of like, as it's a hobby, but people need it more and more with how the world's coming and how everything's going on. They need that escapism. So more and more things coming out, like we said about the handhelds. It's the handhelds. It's other things coming out. There's constantly developing because of new software, hardware, and everything else. So they need people who are with the times and can evolve with it.
I'd just be curious if they do have experts in this. Not people who are like, oh yeah, I'm expert in gaming. You know, I've been doing this since the mid-90s through the PlayStation. Because that is almost irrelevant to how gaming companies are run now.
Yes. If you haven't been playing games for at least the last, I'd say, 4 years, you're out of grasp. You're out of touch with it all.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 came out, they were still very traditional consoles where it was like, yes, these are what we had previously, but more powerful.
Yes.
With Microsoft, there was a little bit of, this cloud technology getting put in. They were saying, oh, yes, some games like Titanfall, we can offload the AI of the NPCs to the cloud rather than doing it all on system. And you got little bits of it like that. But even now, I can play a game like Flight Simulator on my original VCR Xbox One if I want to, because I can do it entirely through the cloud. It doesn't matter how powerful that system is. In fact, if I want to play it on my significantly more powerful Xbox One X, I still need to stream it.
Yes, because it's only
the power of that box is almost irrelevant at that point with these new titles.
If anything, Microsoft doing it that way, it means that people on older consoles can play the more recent games without having to buy a new console. So
yeah, absolutely. And not only that, I suppose from an environmental point of view, it's keeping these consoles out of becoming e-waste. I can still go downstairs and play almost all of my titles on my One X, because if I can't play it locally, I just stream it.
Yeah. And it is getting better and better. Unless you've got a really naff internet connection, you're not going to have issues streaming.
In my mind, I've got a naff internet connection. A naff internet connection nowadays is anywhere between 65 to 100 megabits, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
that. Thank you very much.
But no, I'm on 100. You're on 65. I say that's low-end internet connections now. I can get 250, 500, a gigabit.
Yes.
Only for the fact that I'm poor because my gas and electric is shooting up all the time. I have to cut down on my internet.
Oh, no. Real world problems.
That's a completely different podcast, though. I think that this overall would have been beneficial if Microsoft could have put these games in, could have been a bit of a Trojan horse as well for getting Xbox Game Pass on the Switch. Go to Nintendo, go, do you know we want to bring Call of Duty to you? Well, until the new Switch comes out, we won't be able to put it on the current one. But we can't stream it. We can't stream it. Yeah. If you just let us put this app. Yeah.
Just it little green app. It's just
Game Pass. Yeah, just ignore that. Just click in it and select. Just scroll down through 200 other games. Yeah, there it is. It's Call of Duty. There you go.
The rest can be played, but you don't have to. The main one's Call of Duty, but it's not the one. We put all the Call of Duties on there.
Yeah.
As well as a whole library.
Do that with Nintendo. Do it with Sony and say, tell you what, if someone signs up for Game Pass through your store, we'll give you 15% royalty. For every month that they're subscribed, we'll give you 15% cut.
Tony would lose. Sorry, not Tony. Sony would lose their head. They'd be like, what?
It's reoccurring income for them. They don't need to do an awful lot. They don't even need to promote it. Microsoft will promote it.
Microsoft will do everything. They'll host it. They'll look after it.
Sorry, I'm just going to go like a hard left here, a little bit off topic.
All right, go on.
One thing that really annoys me as well, a lot of the time, Sony have been going, It's about having games on all platforms, making it fair enough. Why do Sony never, ever say that the games are on other systems on their adverts? The amount of
No, I
people
agree.
I've spoken to who are adamant that Harry Potter, that Hogwarts Legacy, is a PlayStation exclusive.
Really?
Yeah, because all the adverts show PlayStation. They do not show Xbox. I didn't even realize until about 2 weeks ago it was on the Switch.
Was it?
Yeah, apparently it's on the Switch. In fact, I am going to double check that while we're talking.
Obviously, I know. I didn't thought it was on the PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. I would have thought the Switch would have been able to hold it.
Well, yeah, I didn't, but because I only ever see the advert for it on the PlayStation.
Sony just doing the Sony thing and saying
Exactly. The amount of times that you've been like, oh, yeah, it's PlayStation exclusive. You're like, no, it's not. Like, yeah, so the advert just says PlayStation on it. I reckon, and
so
I'm sure
misleading.
Microsoft and Nintendo also do it as well. Although I don't think they're quite as bad as Sony when it comes to it. I think whenever you advertise a multi-platform game, you can by all means, put your logo highest or the first one on the list, but you have to include all the other systems it's on.
Yeah, but Sony are just a bunch of buzz.
Just for clarification, yes, it is available on the Switch.
I would not have guessed that in the slightest.
No, I didn't even know it was. I thought it was Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. But that's how good Sony's marketing is.
They just skip over everything else and just go, come on.
Exactly, yeah. Right, getting back on topic. I would be curious to see if this was reversed and it was Sony buying them. Would the CMA have let it go through because Sony has a perceptually weaker streaming service than Microsoft?
Oh, heck yeah. I would like to think that Microsoft is amicable enough to just be like, fair enough. All right, it's yours. You got your deal.
Yeah.
Not be the boss who just turns around and tries to throw everything and see what sticks.
No, Microsoft would just tip the table up.
That's it. I'm out.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the next major organization to actually give their opinion on whether or not this should go through is the European counterparts of the CMA, followed by the FTC in the US. The European one should actually give the response by the end of May. Chances are they're going to follow suit and block it, though, it looks like.
you never know. Microsoft might be hot on the trail already. I might be getting to FTC straight away to try and.
If they block it, what are they going to do? Are they going to just not allow you to access these games in Game Pass in the EU and the UK, or what? I don't know.
Obviously, CMA is the only people who reject it, while everyone else approves it.
Then we might just not get it in the UK.
Screw you, CMA!
Microsoft have got a little bit bitchy with some of the responses. I haven't got any to hand, but they were saying, we always thought that Britain was a leader in innovation technology, but we must have been wrong.
I have seen a few comments and they have sour.
And they were sweet talking the EU as well and saying, maybe we'll have to rethink our strategy for innovation in the UK, and, sounded a bit threatening, we're going to pull out, move our business elsewhere kind of thing.
Yeah, I was just having a quick look on my newsfeed because I've been having quite a lot of different news articles coming up this week about this, and they have been a little bit personal, shall we say.
Well, one way or another, we're going to be talking about this again in a few weeks when the EU give their verdict. And if Microsoft do actually pull out of this acquisition, they still need to pay Activision $3 billion.
That's on top of everything they've paid so far.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'll be interested to see how much they've lost here, because obviously they don't want to lose it. They don't want to be like all that money in the last, is it years? 2? How long has it been on for?
Oh, I can't remember. It's been over a year, hasn't it?
Yeah. Like, after all this, then I have to pull out. That's the last they want to do. So they're going to fight tooth and nail to the very end, I think.
Yeah.
Well, so not. I think they will.
But it might not be worth it if everyone blocks it. If it's only
No.
the UK CMA that they need to fight, fair enough. But if they have to do it with everyone else, then at that point, it's not worth it. Why drag it out for another 5 years plus, lose even more money, and then still not get anywhere?
It's a touchy subject in a minute.
Yeah, well, as I say, we'll be talking about this again in a couple of weeks. But for now, that appears to be the end of this week's episode. If you'd like to find out more about anything mentioned, you can view the full show notes at retrogamingdads.co.uk. We've been the Retro Gaming Dads, and we'll see you next time. Right. I'll say that again because my tummy jumping.
I heard it.
Did you?
I did.
You can hear my internal organs with this microphone.
Disconcerting.